You're going to take your hands in front of you just to start on your fingertips. Wrists are in line with your shoulders, so your hands are about shoulder width apart. You're going to inhale, draw your tailbone back, lift your chest, look up for a moment. Feel your buttocks draw back toward or to the heels. You're going to keep your buttocks toward or to the heels. As you exhale, you're just going to walk your hands forward to come into a child's pose. So basically your forehead is going to try to come down to the ground, toward the ground. If you need a block, you can place a block underneath your forehead or a pillow, anything that you have to prop you up. Right now, you're not trying to accomplish anything except to start to come into awareness of your own breath. So just noticing how you're breathing this afternoon, noticing your in breaths, noticing your out breaths. And for yoga, we try to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose the entire time, unless there's something in your body that needs to be released. Then please inhale through the nose, exhale like a ha out your mouth, but always inhaling through the nose. Noticing an expansion as you breathe as you take an in-breath of your abdomen, rib cage, and chest. And then think of a subtle recoiling inward of the chest, followed by the rib cage, followed by the belly. So think about that breath with each in-breath starting at the belly, going up to the rib cage, up into the chest, very small expansion of the chest. And then as you exhale, think of the belly going downward, emptying the chest, emptying the rib cage, emptying the belly. Just keep breathing in this fashion, noticing now as you're in this pose a little bit more, any tension in the body. So for me, a little bit of tension at the femurs there, where the hips insert into, where the femurs insert into the hips, a little bit of tension in the back, shoulders. Kind of exploring your body here, noticing where tension manifests itself, what that feels like. And keep breathing. Every time I think, a thought's coming up or I have pain, I try to just go back to breathing. That steady in-breath rising up. And that steady out-breath drawing down. Relax any tension in your jaws. Slightly draw your chin a little bit more toward the chest so you feel a lengthening of the back of the neck. Being mindful, you've been in this pose for about a couple of minutes, your body's going to start feeling more and more sensation. And now for a moment, spend some time with your thoughts. What's going on? What are you thinking? How are you judging yourself? Criticizing, perhaps, wondering if you're doing it right, wondering if this is okay. So we're just observing and witnessing our thoughts. We're trying to avoid getting caught up in them. You sink a little deeper into child's pose. Maybe the chest drops a little more, maybe the shoulders relax, maybe the fingers soften. Now, any of those thoughts that you were just experiencing, that you were just witnessing, they start to grab on. I want you to let them go on an exhalation. Just thoughts. And keep repeating that with any thought that kind of tries to grab on. Another 30 seconds, maybe 45 seconds in the pose. Really focus on lengthening your spine, letting the tailbone draw back and down onto the heels or toward the heels. Maybe the legs have widened a little bit. Check in with your jaws, make sure they're relaxed, slightly apart from one another. Now, keeping your hands in front of you, palms flat, shoulders are going to draw back, the chest draw slightly forward. We're going to take an in-breath and just lift the head up to gaze toward the front of your mat. So I like to look at the front edge of my mat, then start to bring my gaze toward my thumbs, and I'm going to find the center point between my thumbs. I'm going to press my palms down, spread my fingers out wide, thumb pointer and pinky fingers really root, draw the shoulders back, and now just start to lift your chest. Your hands are still on the ground, your forearms may lift up slightly off the ground, draw your buttocks back. Good. Now you're going to exhale, walk your upper body over to your right. So you're just going to exhale, draw the left hip back, start to look over your right shoulder as your hands walk to the right. Draw your shoulders back. Think of your chest being between the upper arms, and your head is going to look back, maybe toward the back of your mat. Keep drawing the left hip back and feel like your left rib cage is expanding out to the left. So think of that left lung really filling in the left side of the rib cage. Now what I'm trying to do here is pull back a little bit on my right shoulder, and I'm going to start to push my left palm into the ground. So like I'm shoving the earth away. As I'm pushing the left palm into the ground, pushing the earth away, I'm pulling the right palm slightly toward me. So it's not any kind of actual movement. It's like a tractioning. Just this little sensation of pushing the left palm, pulling the right. That's going to deepen your stretch along your left rib cage, along the left shoulder, into the left tricep. And the right side is going to be stabilizing. So those obliques are going to start to warm up a little bit. One more breath. Now you're going to carefully inhale, walk yourself back to center, pause at your center point, hands shoulder width apart, fingers spread out, gazing at the front edge of your mat, go into your body. Notice how the left side and the right side feel different now. Which side in your own mind, try to identify which side has more length. Maybe notice what's going on in your inner thighs, hips. Your patience might be wearing thin. Now let's go ahead and exhale, walk the upper body to the left. So we're drawing the right hip back in opposition. Your hands remain shoulder width apart. You're going to look over that left shoulder. You're going to draw your shoulders back, chest forward, and keep thinking right hip draw back. So we're trying to keep the hips squared here, trying to get the upper body into a lateral stretch, and think of differentiation, lower body from upper body. Now let's start drawing that left shoulder back. Think of plugging it in. Really draw the right shoulder back and start pushing the right palm into the ground and pulling the left palm towards you. So you'll start to feel more stretch along the right side, down into the tricep. And again, think about that right rib cage expanding, right lung really heavy and expansive in the right rib cage. Let it rest in there heavily. Maybe with an exhalation, you walk a little deeper into the side bend, meaning going more and more to your left. Or maybe you stay where you are. Good. Now on the next in-breath, we're going to slowly walk ourselves back to center, hands shoulder width apart, fingers spread out wide, gaze at the front edge of your mat, really draw your buttocks back and think of sending your chest forward. Press both palms actively into the mat, drop the shoulders, and think of almost like lions outside the library in the city. You're kind of drawing the shoulders down, lifting your chest, getting a little bit of a gentle back bend here. One more breath like this. Good. Now we're going to inhale, come up to all fours. In your all fours, kind of crawl a little bit forward on your mat, spread your fingers out wide, wrists are underneath the shoulders, knees are underneath the hips, you're going to tuck your toes. Let's start with a cat. Draw your shoulders back, exhale, pull the belly button and tilt the tailbone between the thighs, hollowing at the belly, rounding the thoracic spine and rocking back slightly toward the heels. Now inhale, point your toes, lengthen your tailbone, unfurl your spine, shoulders back, chest forward, cow. Keep thinking of the belly drawing in and up. Again, exhale, tuck your toes, hollow out your belly, round your thoracic spine, rocking back slightly in cat, looking inward. Then inhale, point your toes, lengthen your tailbone, unfurl your spine, shoulders back, chest forward, cow. Think of still drawing the belly in. Think of belly button toward the spine. One more breath. Exhale, tuck your toes, hollow out your belly, round your thoracic spine, rock back slightly in your cat, look inward towards your chest for a little more stretch in the neck. And then inhale, point the toes, lengthen the tailbone, unfurl the spine, shoulders back, chest forward, cow. Good, now we'll return to neutral or tabletop spine. So we're gonna tuck our toes. Our spine is gonna be in neutral alignment. Draw your shoulders back. Now, like we kind of did in our down dog, in our child's pose, we're gonna take a lateral bend. Draw your left hip back. You're gonna exhale, walk your upper body over to your right. So this one I find a little more challenging, but it gives me a little more control. My hands, my wrists are underneath my shoulders. I can really push down. As I'm pushing down, I'm spreading my fingers out and lengthening my neck, and I'm going to draw my left hip back. You're going to feel your right obliques engage and your left rib cage really expand. Now, instead of looking straight down, I want you to look over your right shoulder and take a moment to look at your heels. Sometimes our heels knock in or knock out. I want you to make sure that your heels are parallel to one another, roughly in line with your sits bones, the bony protrusions there at your tush. One more breath. On the in-breath, walk your hands back to center, returning to your neutral tabletop. Take a moment to observe, witness right side, left side. Pull your belly in as you do that. So your exhale lifts your belly in towards you. Now we're going to draw that right hip back energetically. Exhale, upper body to the left. So again, you're just taking a slow walk, wrists underneath the shoulders, start to push down. Think of like you would in a plank, pushing really down into the mat. Energetically draw that right hip back. First, gaze between your thumbs. This is one of our drishtis or focal points. Then once you've established your focal point, look over your left shoulder and see those heels. Try to make parallel lines with the heels. If you notice them knocking in or out, try to adjust. Keep drawing that right hip back. Feel that right rib cage expand. Notice the left obliques start to warm up. Check in with your breath. Deep in breath, deep out breath. Then on the next in breath, we're going to return ourselves to center. Wrists underneath the shoulders, spread your fingers out. Let's point the toes for a moment. Now we're going to exhale, shift back to a much more narrow child's pose. Instead of going all the way down with your chest, your buttocks go toward or to your heels, push them out away from you with your hands. Hands stay shoulder width apart. So here comes in warming up our backs. Now we're going to slide about 2 inches forward with that upper body. Root the thumb pointer and pinky finger down. Now you're going to inhale, draw your hips forward toward the front edge of the mat, opening up the chest, drawing the shoulders back. So I'm aligned a little bit off. So I want my wrists underneath my shoulders here. You can adjust forward or back. Then you're going to exhale, shift back to a child's pose. Now we're going to start to do this movement with the breath. In breaths bring you forward. You're going to pull your belly and tailbone slightly forward, hips drop forward, chest opens. And as you exhale, you draw back to child's pose. So let's do this another 4 times with your breath. So everybody's pace is going to be a little different. Some of us will move slower if we have slower breath patterns. Some of us will move a little faster if we have faster breath patterns. So here's where the practice is your own. And remember, might be the first time today that you're doing any spinal extension, the back bending, the Cobra. So your body may be a little tight. Mine's a little tight when I go forward. Good. Remembering to exhale on the shift back into child's pose. Whenever we fold, we exhale. And then inhaling as you start to roll forward. Whenever your chest or heart comes forward, you're accepting the breath. One more time. Exhale, shifting back into yourself. And then inhaling forward into Cobra. And let's hold our Cobra. So we're holding Cobra, but not the breath. So an adjustment for Cobra is to bend your elbows, draw your shoulders back, elbows in, or to drop into Sphinx, elbows underneath the shoulders, anchoring the hip points down, pulling your belly in and up. You're drawing your shoulders back. I widen my legs to accommodate my back issues, but the quote ideal perfect pose is inner thighs as connected as possible. So I'm going to come up a little higher for me. I'm going to stay here 2 more breaths, shoulders back, chest open, trying to sink those hip points toward the ground, quads down, tops of the feet down, feel your shins lift up off the ground. We're going to be transitioning to a downward facing dog. So we're going to tuck our toes, exhale, press through the hands, lift the hips up, draw the seat back and up. So down dog, right? If you need to, wider stance to accommodate any back pain, anything going on here in the body. Ideally, quote, ideally, feet hip width apart, parallel. So you want to think of creating an upside down V shape. So I'm going to have you sit in it for a moment, however it feels, before I go into refining anything. So you're just going to find your breath in this upside down V. The immediate sensation is probably going to be my hamstrings are tight, the back of my legs. If that's the case, bend your knees slightly, draw your booty back and slightly up, and the heels will lift. And that could be your down dog. For those of us with a little more flexibility, we may want to step the feet back a bit, drop the heels, really send the seat back and up. Now the hands, you're going to take a moment, keep your buttocks going back and up. Think of walking the buttocks up the wall toward the corner where the ceiling and the wall meet. You're going to take your gaze, though, for right now to the space between your thumbs. I want you to root your thumb down, pointer down, pinky down, and the inner and outer edges of the palms of your hands. You're going to look at your forearms, 2 parallel lines. You're going to look at your wrist creases. They face straight ahead, parallel to the mat. Your shoulders draw back. Your triceps spiral in toward your center point, your midline. You're going to take your gaze now back to your feet and chest. Think of drawing the chest toward your thighs. If you fatigue in this pose, the alternative is child's pose. We've practiced it a bit. You sit back on your heels and draw your buttocks back with active hands. Breathe. I want you to find that steady breath that you found in child's pose. In through the nose, out through the nose. If your shoulders are tight or you're a little newer to the practice, the chest is going to try to shift forward. You're going to keep sending your chest back. Think of pushing the mat away from you with your hands and dragging the mat back with your feet. Let's do 2 more breaths here. In through the nose, out through the nose. Down dog is a good place to also sigh and let things go. 1 more breath. Good, now we're going to transition. Inhale, rock the body forward into a plank. Shoulders over the wrists, extend out through the heels. Pull your belly in and up. For some, it may make sense to bring your knees down behind your hips and send your hips slightly forward. Push the earth away from you. For those of us who feel a little stronger today, just coming up off the knees, extend out through the heels, push away from gravity. Notice how I'm keeping my spine in neutral alignment and not dropping my chin or looking forward. I'm just keeping natural curvature of the spine. While we're here, we're going to exhale, bring the left knee directly underneath the left hip, onto the ground, tuck your left toes. You're going to inhale, float your right leg straight up and back, lengthen your spine, even weight distribution in both hands. Reach through your right heel. Keep thinking of squaring your right hip point toward the earth. Now we're going to inhale, keep the hands straight down. You're just going to open up your right hip. So now your hips are turning to your right. You're still flexing your foot. Lengthen through your spine. Notice the rotation there. Now inhale, open the right arm up. So I start with my focal point gazing at the ground. If that feels okay for me and I feel stable, I start to look toward parallel line to the earth. And if I feel really balanced, I'll look up toward my right hand. I'm trying to line my right wrist up with my right shoulder. Lengthening the spine. Every exhale, I'm trying to add a little twist. If you want to get even more fun with it, turn your right palm away from you and take the top of the hand, tuck it into your low back or your left inner thigh region. Every exhalation, see if you can rotate a little more. So it should feel like, yes, your left hand is supporting you, but you feel kind of light in that left hand. Keep drawing your left shoulder back. 1 more breath. Good. Now we're going to inhale, reach that right arm up, wrist in line with the shoulder. With control, keep your right hip open. Exhale, derotate your upper body back to neutral. So both hands down to the ground. Next exhale, pull your belly and square your hips. Bring the right ball of the foot to the earth, and the in-breath brings you back to plank. Push away from gravity. Good. Now we're going to exhale. Bring that right knee underneath the right hip, tuck your right toes, lengthen your spine. Inhale, lift your left leg up parallel to the earth, reaching through your left heel, square your left hip point forward. So it's almost a little pulling back of that right side. Now we're going to inhale, open up that left hip, rotating your lower body to the left. Good. Holding here. Now we're going to inhale, open up that left arm, rotating your upper body to the left, reaching your left wrist up toward the ceiling, left wrist in line with the left shoulder, tucking that right seat underneath you, lengthen your spine. So again, you can look at the ground, parallel to the earth, or up toward the ceiling. Now to make this a little more complex, turn the left palm away from you, top of the hand to the small of the back, or to your right hip crease here. Keep reaching through that left leg. Every in-breath lengthen, every out-breath, see if you can add a little rotation. Try to feel light in that right hand. Another breath or 2 here. Keep reaching through the left heel. Good, now we're going to inhale, reach the left arm up, keeping the hips open. Exhale, rotate the upper body back to neutral. Keeping that left hip open. Next exhale, rotate the hips back to center. Exhale, left ball of the foot to the earth. Inhale, plank. Let's do 2 deep breaths in plank. In through the nose, out through the nose. 1 more breath, in through the nose, out through the nose. Set up for a chaturanga. Exhale, rock forward, tippy toes, knees up or down. Slow lower shoulders back, elbows in, neck is long. Then inhale carefully. Thread the heart between the shoulders into Cobra. Or always coming down into Sphinx, elbows underneath the shoulders, drawing the chest forward, shoulders back. And then exhale, tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Sending your seat back and up. Chest toward the thighs, collarbones broad, and connect to your breath. So if you want to walk the dog a little bit, pedaling your feet, lifting and lowering the opposite heel. Keep drawing the shoulders back, chest toward the thighs, spiraling your triceps inward. Good. When you've evenly walked the dog, send your seat back and up, heels toward or to the mat, and really focus on lengthening your spine. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. And just changing up the movement pattern a little bit. Let's exhale, walk the hands back toward the feet, and you'll be in a standing forward fold. In a standing forward fold, you want to soften your knees. Bring your hands either to your ankles if you can't touch the ground, or hands right down to the ground. Check out your feet, toes in line with one another. Feet are about hip width apart. Now here you're sending your sits bones back and up, chest toward the thighs, and look back at the space between the shins. Let your head hang, pull your belly in and up. And again, we're finding that breath. Deep in breath, deep out breath. Now, in terms of our foundation, we want to evenly distribute the weight all four corners of the feet, as well as even weight distribution front and back for right now. Might want to lift your toes up a little bit and spread them out and see how that changes the pose. I find that if I do that, a release happens and I can go right into settling my femurs into my hip sockets. Now with the toes up or down, can you shift your weight a little bit more toward the balls of the feet? Press into the big toe sides of both feet. Your heels are still down, but notice how this changes the stretch. Goes a little more into the glutes. Outer glutes specifically. Now keeping the toes up, shift the weight more toward the heels, but keep the balls of the feet down. And notice how it goes a little bit quieter in the legs for many, maybe a little bit more awake in the back, low back. Draw the shoulders back, elbows in, especially if you're really mobile or flexible. Now we're going to find that rock forward to share the weight between all four corners of the feet, heels and balls of the feet. Keeping your chest toward to your thighs, look slightly forward and walk your hands on fingertips about an arm's length away from your feet. I'm wider than my feet here. I'm at shoulder width right now. Now drop your toes, soften your left knee, and step your right foot forward, maybe 6 inches or 7 inches. Draw your right hip back. Make sure there's a softness to the back of the right knee. Lift your toes up to protect your knee. And you're going to exhale, soften the chest toward or to your thigh. So this is a nice deep stretch. It looks really easy when you see somebody in the pose. When you're in the pose, it's not so easy. So hands can stay down. If you want to add a little bit of a balance challenge, start with your right hand to the small of the back, palm up. And if that feels stable, left hand to the small of the back, palm up. Draw your shoulders back, inner elbows slightly back toward the ceiling. I'm gazing at my right big toe to give me somewhat of a stationary focal point. Your foot is going to be moving around as your smaller stabilizer muscles get in there to stabilize you. You're going to notice your right hamstring really start to stretch. Draw your belly button in and up and sink into your left foot. Every exhalation, see if you can go a little deeper forward. Maybe now you take your face or forehead, nose toward the right shin. Maybe not, right? There is no must here, just breathing. One more breath. Good, now we're going to exhale both hands down to the ground, framing the front foot. Inhale your spine halfway up so your chest is parallel to the earth. Soften that right knee. Exhale, step the right foot back and forward fold. I'm going to drop my toes on these. Your feet may get a little tired or calves a little tired from keeping the toes up. You can always drop them. I'm going to do a little bit of pedaling out my knees here. Just quickly bending and straightening the knees. And taking a deep sigh to release whatever was there that needed to go. All right, so once again, both feet evenly rooted. We're going to walk those arms forward, maybe about an arm's length away. Draw the shoulders back, pull the belly in as you exhale. Soften that right knee and step your left foot forward 6 to 7 inches. Draw the left hip back and the right hip forward, softening the chest toward the thigh. Lift your left toes up, make sure that left knee remains soft. Put even weight in both feet. And as you're ready, you're going to go ahead and take your left hand to the small of the back, palm up. Right hand to the small of the back, palm up, and exhale, fold as you're ready. Again, you can start by looking at your left toe, giving yourself a somewhat steady focal point. Draw your shoulders back, inner elbows up, and find your breath. In through the nose and out through the nose. As you get more and more comfortable and maybe find more balance, you can try to bring your forehead toward or to that left shin. Keep lengthening your spine. Check in with your jaws. Make sure you're avoiding clenching your jaws or grinding your teeth. Maybe even close your eyes since you're pretty warmed up in this pose and see how that changes your balance. About 2 more breaths. And then as you're ready, exhale, hands down to frame the front foot. Inhale, spine halfway up. Try to parallel the chest toward the mat, to the mat. Soften your left knee and exhale, step that left foot back, toes in line with one another, feet hip width, and let yourself fold into a standing forward fold. So your hands here can go ahead and just rest on either side of your feet, or you can take them to the small of the back, palms up, or you can go ahead and interlace your fingers, reach your knuckles up toward the ceiling, and maybe your arms go overhead toward the front of your mat, getting a bigger stretch here. Make sure the knees are soft. You're pulling your belly in gently. You can let your head hang down here. If your hamstrings feel super tight, soften the knees a little more. Maybe shift the weight back slightly. If you want to go more into the hamstrings, you shift the weight a little bit more forward toward the balls of the feet. 1 more breath. Now we're going to keep those hands interlaced. Exhale the hands to the small of the back. Take a moment in an in-breath. Then exhale the hands down on either side of the feet. We're going to pull the belly button in just slightly, draw the chin towards your chest, round your tailbone down, and you're going to slowly roll up on an in-breath. Think of like a Pilates roll up. Arms are heavy, slow, steady in-breath, soften the knees. Once your shoulders stack over your hips, I'd like you to inhale, reach your arms up, chest forward toward the ceiling, look up, palms face one another, and take a very gentle back bend. Draw the quads forward, tailbone forward, chest open, shoulders are back, fingertips reach back. Soften the knees, exhale, hinge from the hips, and swan dive forward carefully, taking your time. Hands on either side of the feet, shoulders are back, elbows are in. Now we're going to inhale, spine halfway up. Hands can go to the shins here or to the earth. Then we're going to exhale, fold. As you inhale, walk your hands out to a plank. Wrists underneath the shoulders, pushing away from gravity, lengthen your spine, pulling your belly button in and up. Good. Feel like the chest muscles are active. Breathe. 1 more breath. Now we're going to exhale, draw the left knee back down onto the ground, tucking your toes. And as you inhale, I want you to sweep your right leg over to the right. Toes point toward the front edge of your mat. Your right inner ankle lines up with your left inner knee. Step into your right foot. Think 4 corners of the foot. Draw the right inner ankle slightly towards you and your right inner thigh slightly toward your left inner thigh. Breathe. Now we're going to exhale, walk the upper body over to the left. Keep tucking your left seat underneath. You think of wrists underneath your shoulders. So you're going to feel that lateral stretch here. Now we're going to inhale, open the right arm up toward the ceiling, chest faces toward the wall, facing the front edge of your mat. Now you can add a little more twist. Be mindful. If you need to, take the left hip point into the twist. Otherwise, exhale, open up your right side. So like you're trying to take your chest up toward the ceiling, reaching your right fingertips back. Try to keep the lower body as is. Nothing changes in the lower body. Should feel a nice big stretch here across your torso. So deep, steady breaths. Breath might be a little bit elevated here, the heart rate rather, because it is a back bend. Good, now we're going to carefully exhale. Bring that right hand back down next to the left. Inhale, return your spine to center. Good. Point the left toes, keep your right leg where it is, and exhale, shift back to a child's pose variation here. So you can bring your elbows to the earth like you're in a Sphinx pose to support you a little bit more, or if you want, you can go ahead, extend your arms forward, bring the forehead down toward or to the mat. Breathing in through your nose and out through your nose. Relax your jaws. Should feel a nice big stretch along that right inner thigh. Keep stepping into the right foot. 1 more breath. Good. Now we're going to inhale, transfer the weight forward, wrists underneath the shoulders, tuck the left toes. Next in breath, sweep your right leg straight back, pulling your belly in. Try to reach your right leg up a little bit higher. Keep the rib cage in. Now we're going to exhale, bend the right knee, aiming the right heel toward the ceiling. Make sure your right wrist is underneath your right shoulder. Draw your right shoulder back. Can you reach your left arm back? Look over your left shoulder and try to catch your right ankle or foot and pull that right leg up. If you can't catch the ankle or foot, you're just reaching back and looking over your left shoulder. Try to keep the hips squared, press into the right hand, pull your belly in. One more breath. Now we're going to inhale, straighten the right leg back. Reach your left arm forward, look forward towards your left fingertips. Think of a little bird dog action here. Good. Then exhale, left wrist down, right knee down. Take a moment, wrists underneath the shoulders. Let's rock the hips left and right. And you can widen your legs if you feel like you need to accommodate, create more space for your body. Good. We'll return to center. Draw the shoulders back, push away from gravity, lengthen the spine. So we're going to go ahead, keep that right knee down, toes are tucked. You're going to step your left foot out to the left, lining your left inner ankle up with the right inner knee. Try to keep your hips square, push away from gravity. As you're ready, make sure the four corners of your left foot are rooted and anchored down. We're going to exhale, walk the upper body over to the right. Tuck the right seat underneath you. Wrists are going to be underneath the shoulders. Keep the lower body as is. As you're ready, inhale, reach your left arm up. So I like to tuck my right seat underneath myself as my left arm rises up, so I create as straight a line as possible. Left wrist lines up with the left shoulder for right now. If you want to make this bigger, you can take your right hip with you, or you just rotate from the torso, exhaling, reaching your left fingertips back, like you're opening your chest up toward the ceiling. Keep stepping into that left foot. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Try to relax your jaws. Another breath or two. Good. Now we're going to slowly exhale, close the left hand down, wrist underneath the shoulder. Inhale, return your spine back to center. You're going to point your right toes and then exhale back to that variation of child's pose with the left leg to the left. Remember, you can bring your elbows down on the ground, elbows underneath the shoulders, forearms parallel. Or if you want to go a little deeper into the stretch, forehead down to the earth. Keep drawing your right hip back, left hip slightly forward, deep in breath. Complete out breath. Try to relax that left inner thigh. So I want you to think of the left inner thigh dropping toward the ground and the right hip pulling back a little bit so you get maximum stretch here in the inner thigh region. 2 more breaths. Then now we're going to inhale, shift the weight forward, wrists underneath the shoulders. You're going to tuck your right toes. Next in breath, you're going to sweep your left leg straight back, reaching through the left heel, square your left hip forward, maybe lift that left leg up just a little bit. Good, even weight in both hands. Now let's bend the left knee, reach the left heel up toward the ceiling, so we're activating our back body. Now we're going to look over the right shoulder, reach the right arm back, see if you can catch your left foot or ankle and lift that left leg up. If you can't catch it, you're looking back and reaching back. Keep squaring the hips, pulling your belly and opening up through your chest. Good. Let's do 2 more breaths. This pose feels good. Good. Now we're going to inhale, extend the left leg straight back. Sweep that right arm forward, look toward your right fingertips. Thinking a little bit of bird dog here. So think of a lift and a rooting. Good. Then exhale, right wrist down, left knee down. Start to spiral your triceps in, root into the thumb, pointer, and pinky fingers. And let's exhale, lift those knees up and come back up into a downward facing dog. Good. Sending the seat back and up, chest toward the thighs, collarbones broaden and connect to your breath. Push the mat away from you with your hands and drag the mat back with your feet. Think of the sits bones rising back and up, chest softening toward the thighs. Make sure you're hiding your heels behind your feet so you have 2 parallel lines. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. 1 more breath. Good. Now let's inhale, lift up onto the balls of the feet. Exhale, pull the belly button and start to round your spine. And as you enter exhale, I want you to roll forward into a plank there. Maybe extend out through the heels. Inhale in your plank. Now we're going to exhale. Go ahead and bring the left knee underneath the left hip. Tuck your left toe, step your left hand slightly forward into the left. Roll onto the sole of the right foot so your toes are aiming to the right. And you're going to inhale, take a side plank here, reaching your right arm up. Lengthen through both sides of the waist. So you're going to arrive here, trying to rotate that left rib cage more to the right. Then on your next in breath, I want you to sweep your right arm up and over, palm faces down like you're reaching for the wall in front of you. It's going to give you a nice big side stretch. Looking up toward the ceiling, really root into the pinky toe side of that right foot. Connect to your breath. If you want to make this a little more fun, maybe bend your right elbow, rest the elbow crease on the side of your head, and reach your right fingertips down. Yeah. And try to get a little more rotation on the exhalation. In breath, out breath. One more breath. Good. Now we're going to inhale, reach that right arm up. With control, exhale, derotate the upper body, wrists underneath the shoulders. Can you keep that little twisty sensation? Float your right leg up with your right hip open like we practiced earlier. Yeah, trying to stack the hips. Good, now exhale, square the hips. And then release the right knee underneath the right hip. Maybe sway a little bit side to side in those hips. Releasing any tension. Remember, you can widen the knees as needed. Good. So let's go ahead and come back to center, wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Draw your shoulders back, pull your abdomen in. Now we're going to go ahead and extend that left leg back. Step the right hand slightly forward and to the right. You're going to open up the left hip. Go ahead and turn your left heel out, toes in. Inhale, reaching your right arm up. So you can think of your right heel and left inner heel lining up. Keep drawing your right shoulder back and trying to stack your hips and stack your shoulders here. Once you feel steady here, go ahead and reach that left arm up and over. Keep tucking the right seat underneath you so you can feel that bigger stretch along the left side of your body. Root into the inner and outer edges of that left heel. If you want to make this a little different, you can go ahead and bend that left elbow, resting the elbow crease on the outside of your head as you look up. Keep drawing your left shoulder back. Slow, deep, steady breaths, enjoying the practice. Good, now let's inhale, reach the left arm up. Can we keep the hips as is and just exhale, square the upper body, wrists underneath the shoulders. Keep tucking that right seat underneath you, push away from gravity. Good, now we're gonna inhale, float the left leg up. Like we did before, just gonna keep stacking hips. Exhale, square the left hip point forward. And this time on the in-breath, drop that left knee down. Maybe wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, sway left and right again. Release any of that tension that might be accumulating here. Good. Let's go ahead and return back to center. I want you to cross your ankles behind you. Now you're going to exhale, roll over the crossed ankles, bringing your seat back onto the ground, and you're going to extend your legs out in front of you. So from here, you're going to go ahead and extend the legs out in front, heels reach away from you. I want you to pull the flesh out from beneath you so you're on your sits bones. And you're going to sit up nice and tall. So feel like the seat really roots, your spine rises up. We're going to bring I'm going to mirror you guys, right sole of the foot to the left inner thigh. So the left heel is in line with your left hip point. Once you take your hands to frame your left leg, bring your fingertips down and try to square out hip and chest. You're going to inhale, grow tall, look up, flex your left foot, and then exhale, fold forward over your left leg. Walking your hands forward, hands can rest on either side of the calf, or arms can rest on either side of the calf. You can catch your foot, left foot. You're pressing your right sole of your foot into your left inner thigh. Keep drawing the left seat back. And every exhalation, try to bring the chest forward. Just thinking a bit closer to the top of my foot, head a bit closer to the top of my foot. You want to draw your chest toward the shin. So almost like in down dog where we're sending the seat back and up. Here is slightly up, it's back, slightly up, and the chest has room to go forward. Slow, deep, steady breaths. If you're feeling any pressure in your abdomen, you want to be mindful of that. So if we're, trying to lose weight or fluctuate heat in the belly, it's okay to go deeper. If you, a reason to pull back. If you're expecting, you want to pull back a little bit. We're going to keep the foundation as is. You're going to inhale, bring your spine back up. Now you're going to exhale, rotate to your right, bringing your left hand to the outside of your right thigh and right arm behind you. You can always let the hip go into the twist if you have any back pain, or you can rotate from the torso. If your back is healthy and no other reason to modify your practice, then you inhale, grow tall, and try to twist from the torso. Draw your shoulders back, lifting your chest and looking over the right shoulder. Keep stepping that right foot into the left inner thigh, flexing the left foot, left toes aim up. One more breath. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist as safe and comfortable for you. Good, now we're gonna inhale, return to center. And then exhale, extend your right leg out in front of you. You may notice that one leg is longer than the other. We'll take care of that. So the left sole of the foot to the right inner thigh. Framing your right thigh with your hands, you're gonna draw your right hip back, square your left hip forward, chest over the thigh. Exhale, seat back and slightly up as you fold forward. So paying attention to where your body can go today. Keep pressing the left sole of the foot into that right inner thigh, drawing the shoulders back, trying to keep both sits bones rooted. Keep reaching through the right heel, right toes aim towards you here. And in through the nose, out through the nose. Every exhalation, if it's appropriate for you, fold a little bit more forward. Think of chest toward the shin, and we're going to reach the head toward the top of the right foot. One more breath. Now we're going to slowly inhale, walk the spine back up. As we exhale, we're going to rotate to the left, right hand to the outside of the left thigh, left arm behind you. Remember, if you need to, any back pain or if you're expecting, you're going to let that right hip go into the twist. Otherwise, it's from the torso. You're going to inhale, grow tall, exhale, rotate. Looking over your left shoulder. Keep rooting the right sits bone down. Try to distribute the weight evenly in both sits bones. One more breath. Good, now we're going to inhale, return to center. And then let's exhale, straighten out the left leg. So what I'd like us to do now is spread the legs apart, as far apart as they'll go for you comfortably today. So the trick is to assist your legs apart. And then also, once you're ready, once you're sitting up tall, I want you to flex your feet, draw your toes towards you, and pull the flesh from your buttocks back and slightly up so you're on your sits bones. What you're also going to notice is going to be space to hinge forward. Bring your fingertips down to the ground, keep those toes aiming up, kneecaps up. We're going to exhale, hinge forward and fold. So you can come onto your palms, come onto your forearms, elbows, keep sending the seat back and slightly up and send the chest forward. Maybe check in with your feet. So I like to do that every so often in this pose because it's really easy to roll the feet forward. If you can, try to keep those toes aiming up. You're going to feel more of a stretch along the inner thighs and groin. As you find space, you can slowly continue to walk forward as is appropriate for you. So think chest forward, seat back. It's always coming forward on the exhalations. Check in with your feet every so often. Relax your jaw. This is one of those poses that we want to stay in a little longer, and that can get frustrating because of the hamstring stretching, because of the groin, inner thighs, because of the flexion and trying to point the toes up and knees up. Try to find that deep, steady breath. Try to elongate the spine as you can. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Keep drawing those toes towards you. At another 30 seconds. Good, now we're going to slowly start to inhale, bring the spine back up. Allow the shoulders to come over the hips, lift your chest. Now we're going to take the hands behind us, fingertips face toward us, wrists underneath the shoulders. You're going to hug your inner elbows in, draw the shoulders back, and as you inhale, lift your chest. Take a nice deep breath here. Keep flexing your feet, reaching through the heels, maybe looking up toward the ceiling. If it's okay to drop your head back, feel free to do so. Keep drawing the inner elbows in, shoulders back, chest open, 2 more breaths. Good, then on the next in breath, come up onto the fingertips, sit up tall. Exhale, take your left hand to the back of the left knee, right hand to the back of the right knee. Bend those knees a little bit, bringing the heels in, then walk your feet in front of you. So we're going to go ahead, bring the soles of the feet together. So a couple of options here. You can either do a diamond shape where your feet are about 1.5 feet away from your groin, or start to come in more into butterfly where your heels are close to your groin. I'm gonna pull the flesh out from underneath you. I tend to rock a little bit left and right on this one because it's a challenge for my back to stay upright. You can go ahead, walk your heels closer towards you if you're going into the deeper pose. Take your hands to the outer edges of your feet. Inhale, sit up tall. Maybe look up to give your neck, front of your neck, a little stretch. Now you're gonna exhale, go to your first edge. So that first spot where your body goes, okay, muscles are getting a little bit tense. I want you to stop at that edge, draw your seat back and down, lengthen your chest forward, inhale, back off an inch. And then exhale, see if you can hinge a little more forward, keeping the soles of the feet pressing toward one another. Draw the shoulders back, elbows in. And every time you hit a new edge, you're going to back up and then go forward. So I want you to keep meeting that edge wherever you are today. Feel your outer thighs drop down. Feel like your inner thighs are kind of opening up towards you. Like there's a lift of the inner thighs towards you and the outer thighs are dropping away from you. Keep lengthening your spine. So I notice a little bit of tension in my back right now. I'm not going to push myself all the way down. I'm at the edge that I'm comfortable being at today. And I encourage you to do the same. Find that edge, be there. Should be just enough discomfort that you can breathe through it. Relax your jaws. While we're in this low seat, I want you to lengthen your spine and I just want you to walk a little bit over to your left. So I'm keeping my right elbow down and I'm going to take my left hand, sweep it past beyond my left knee, and I'm going to use that left hand fingertips down to help me get a little more twist. So I'm trying to let my right rib cage rotate just a little bit to the left so I can get into that right inner thigh. Keep rooting the right seat. Deep in breath, complete out breath as you twist. Good, now we're going to carefully inhale, return to that center point, and then exhale, rotate slightly to your right. I'm going to bring my left elbow down. You can always keep your left palm down, and then I'm going to sweep my right hand just beyond my right knee, and I'm going to use the fingertips of the earth kind of traction and rotate a little deeper to the right. Perfect. Keep rooting the left seat, inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your nose. Drawing the shoulders back. Relax your jaws, an easy one to clench the jaws in. Good, now we're gonna inhale, return to center. Maybe take a moment, exhale. See if adding the twist gives you a little more space. Often it does. We've given a little more ability of those inner thighs to release. Now we're gonna really slowly inhale, return the spine to center. Good, now we're gonna extend both legs forward once again. Reach through your heels, adjust your seat as you need to. You're going to keep your right leg extended out in front of you. I'm going to show two options here. You're going to inhale, bring the left heel in line with your left sits bone, and you can wrap both arms around your shin, or to make it a little tougher, left ankle toward the right outer hip, and take both hands to the outer shin, drawing the inner thigh toward you. You're going to grow tall, inhale, and then a slight rotation to your left. Exhale. You can bring that left arm behind you. Just want to take a little bit of a twist here to release the back, root the seat. In through the nose, exhale, out through the nose and twist. We're going to do one more breath. Good, now we're going to do an open twist. You're going to inhale, return to center, holding onto that left leg. I like to wrap my elbow around the outside of my knee. Now I'm just going to open twist, exhale to the right. Usually a little more space here. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, twist. Keep rooting the left sole of the foot down. Especially if you have it crossed over your right leg, you want to root that big toe down. One more breath, inhale, lengthen, exhale, rotate. Good, now let's inhale, return to center. And then as you exhale, release that left leg down. You may notice that it's a little longer than the right. Once again, we'll take care of that. Root your seat. Either bring the right heel in line with the right sits bone, both arms wrap around the right shin, even weight distribution on both sides, or cross the right outer ankle toward the left outer hip. Wrapping your left arm around the right outer thigh, you're going to exhale into the closed twist, rotating to your right. Good, squeezing those inner thighs toward one another. Inhale, lift the chest, exhale, twist. Keep drawing your shoulders down, elongating your spine. Notice the tension. I mean, we all have it. Often our back tightens up a bit here. Try to soften and exhale. Use the exhalation to release tension. Good. Now inhale, return to center. You can wrap your right elbow crease around the outside of the right knee, and then exhale, rotate to your left in your open twist. Inhale, grow tall. Exhale, rotate. Let's do a couple more breaths here. Good. Now let's inhale, return to center. Exhale, release the right leg. Legs should be the same length once again. And this time, let's inhale, point the toes. Give the shins, tops of the legs and feet a moment to release. And then shake the feet out a little bit. Nice job. So now what I'd like us to do, see how we're doing on time. So we're going to go ahead and lie down on our right side. So I'm going to stay working on my right side. So you're going to go ahead very briefly, bring that right elbow underneath the shoulder, and the right hand's going to go behind your skull. Just gently cradling here. We're going to stack the hips, knee over knee, ankle over ankle, foot over foot. All I want you to do here is just inhale, let your left thigh float up. You're going to feel the left gluteal engage. Try to stack the hips and shoulders, pull your belly and lengthen your spine. We're going to turn this into a stretch. So right now we're kind of working the outer left buttock. What I'd like you to do here is take your left hand to the outside of your left thigh hamstring, pull the left knee in towards you. Flex your left foot, toes aim up, knees trying to aim up while the hips are stacked. So you may need to tuck the right hip underneath you. Your left sits bone lengthens away from you. You can stay here or go ahead and straighten your left leg up toward the ceiling and catch left ankle or foot. Breathe. I want you to feel the release in the hip, lengthen the left buttock away from you. Keep capturing that length. Right outer thigh, right outer calf, right outer ankle are nice and rigid to the ground. If you want to make this a little tougher, feel like you can pull your right rib cage only slightly away from the mat. So it's going to fire into those obliques. Couple of breaths here. Every exhalation, you're going to draw that left leg closer towards you, left buttock away from you. Relax your jaws. Good. Now you're going to bend that left knee. Good. And now you're going to take the left outer ankle and cross it over your right thigh. Your left toes are aiming away from you, like in the direction, same direction that your right knee is aiming. You're going to take your left hand to your left inner thigh, and I want you to just press away lightly. Avoid the knee. So the big one for me, please avoid putting any pressure into your kneecap. Go to the mid thigh, go closer to your hip. Keep rooting the left foot down. You should feel a slight release. Remember, we started this little sequence with the left glutes working. So now I want to give them a little bit of a release, the IT band to release. I'm still pulling my belly in, still stacking shoulders and hips. One more breath. Good. Then we're going to release the left hand off of the left inner thigh and let the left knee rest on top of the right knee, inner thigh, inner thigh. Take a moment, left hand in front of your rib cage. I'm going to go ahead and inhale, come on up. And then exhale, just roll onto your left side. You're going to think again, shoulder and ear kind of in line with one another. Your left hand to the occipital ridge there, the bony protrusion at the back of the skull. Stack your hips, knees, ankles, and feet. Draw your shoulders back. Breathe. We're going to inhale, open that right knee up, inner edges of the feet together. I want you to feel the firing in that right outer glute here. Your inner thighs should be pretty relaxed. I want you to think of anchoring the outer left leg. Think of lengthening your right buttock away. Now we're going to go ahead, inhale, lift that right leg up. Think of the knee up toward the ceiling, toes up. You're still trying to stack those hips and shoulders. You're going to feel the glutes work. You can take your right hand to the outer thigh hamstring and start to draw the leg toward you as you lengthen your right buttock away. And as appropriate, straighten that right leg up, catch your ankle, foot, big toe. To make this a little tougher, right, you can start to lift that left rib cage up off the ground just a little bit. So mine's not actually off the ground, but it's this energy of pulling in and up. Chances are you're not going to get it off the ground, but I want you to feel like you're hugging that left rib cage toward the right. Keep working on stacking hips. Those of us with open hips, it's really easy to just go into kind of rolling back slightly. So I kind of have to counterbalance that by drawing my right hip forward a bit. Breathe. Every exhalation, a little more stretch. Good. Now we're going to go ahead, bend that right knee. We're going to take the right outer ankle to the top of the left thigh there. Your right toes aim in the same direction as your left knee. Right hand to the mid thigh and just start to press away. Remember, avoid the knee so you don't put any pressure on the kneecap. It's easy to slip our kneecap, even We're not thinking we're running a risk of injuring ourselves. I'm still trying to lift that left rib cage up off the ground. I feel like it gives a little more length aside from only firing those obliques. Good. Now we're going to gently ease off of the inner thigh. Inhale, stack that right thigh on top of the left. Taking a moment here, we're going to go ahead and stay on the left side. Rest the left side of your face on the mat. Maybe stack your shoulders, stack your elbows, stack your wrists, stack your hands. Close your eyes for a moment and feel whatever it is you're feeling here. So I don't know about you, my body's saying maybe a gentle bridge would be a good idea before any more relaxation. So let's very briefly roll onto our backs just for less than a minute or so. We're going to bring the feet about hip width apart. Keep your spine in neutral. Heels are going to be in line with your sits bones. You can walk your heels closer toward your buttocks. Arms are going to be on either side of your body. Press your arms down, shoulder blades back and down. Keep your head on straight. Inhale, slowly lift your hips up off the ground. So just think of a neutral bridge. We're not trying to puff the chest up. We're not trying to lift the rib cage up. We're just lifting the torso and buttocks off the ground. I want you to think of lengthening the back of your neck, keeping the back of your head down. Just think about looking towards your knees so you feel the back of the neck lengthen. As you exhale, engage the gluteal muscles and try to lift the buttocks up a little higher. If you need to, you can widen your legs a little bit. I want you to feel a gentle little stretch in your hip flexors, the muscles here at the front of the hips. Pressing both shoulders down, both arms down, both palms down. Think of the inner thighs spiraling down toward the earth. 2 to 3 more breaths here. If you need to release, you can release. Otherwise, stay here a little bit longer, feeling the buttocks do a little bit of work. Good, now we're going to exhale, neutral release the torso, buttocks down. On your next exhale, I'd like you to curl your upper body up, reaching your hands, palms face one another, reach the fingertips toward in front of the mat. Then inhale, bring the right or left knee in towards your chest, and then the opposite leg in towards your chest. Flex your feet, wrap your arms around your hamstrings or shins. Give yourself a little squeeze. Maybe you curl up, nose toward to or between the knees. Rock a little bit left and right. Good, now we're going to exhale, release the upper body down to the ground. Open the arms out to T. Let's go ahead and bring the soles of the feet to the edges of the mat. Exhale. Keep your left shoulder down, releasing your knees to the right, head to the left. Gentle little twist here. Tuck your left seat underneath you, almost like you're drawing your left hip toward the right side of the room. It's going to get that inner thigh active and your outer gluteal active. So it's just a nice way to release a little bit here. Every exhalation, try to settle a little deeper into the twist. Let your left inner thigh drop down. Good. Now inhale, nose and knees to center. And then let's exhale, release the knees to the left. Head to the right, right shoulder down. Feel like your right inner thigh drops down. Right buttock squeezes a little. Right hip point a little bit more toward the left. Let that right inner thigh drop down. Let the neck be pretty relaxed here. And now we're going to slowly inhale, nose and knees back to center. Let's exhale, heel toe the feet back to neutral, back to about hip width apart. Let's go ahead and exhale once again, roll onto that left side. Letting your knees come in line with your hips or even closer to your hips here, curling up like a little ball. Just taking a few moments, closing your eyes, resting on your side, breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. So noticing what it feels like to be in a fetal position here. How does your body feel right now? How is your breath? Just allowing yourself some time to rest and relax. Try to keep your mind steady and quiet. Letting any thoughts that arise go. As you're ready, slowly taking a deep in breath and a complete out breath. Pressing your right palm into the earth in front of your heart. Inhale, rise up. And take a moment to come to a comfortable cross-legged seat. Resting your hands on your inner knees, sitting up tall, maybe adjusting your seat. Closing your eyes. A few moments to be in awareness here, your sensations, any thoughts. Let's go ahead and bring the palms together in prayer, slightly bowing the chin toward the chest, taking a moment to practice gratitude, grateful for someone and something this afternoon. Om Shanti, Om Peace. I hope you enjoyed today's practice. Thank you and Namaste.